So this part is for everyone that's going to be a supervisor. And if you're an assistant, you can watch this as well. Gives some good background information. So the team numbers have been assigned to the students, and all of the coaches know about this. So they have to know what their team number is. And this is particularly important because there can be multiple teams from a single school. So we track all of the scoring based on their team number. And so they have to have this. It is on the wristband. They will all have a wristband when they walk into your event location. And then also make sure that they are assigned to the correct hour. Now, many of the events are specifically assigned, so I'll show you a schedule in a second, but others are self-scheduled. So they need to know, are they at the event site at the correct time? So if they are A03, are they slotted in at the time that they need to be? If a team approaches you and asks to be in a different hour, you can say yes, but I say no in advance. So you can let them in if you have room in an earlier hour, but I don't make those allowances in advance. They have to do that on the day of the competition only. So again, I'm okay with you letting them in a different hour, but they can't arrange that with me in advance. And then when they come in the room, they will sign in as they walk in. So please make sure that you have them sign in on your sign-in sheet, and that we do this to verify no-shows. Okay. There are event templates that are on the website so that you can download and make sure that we've got consistency. They look similar to this. So this is a Word document. So I would highly suggest that you get that event template and use it. For this start time, everything starts at the top of the hour at 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, so on. And use your internet and cell phone time to get started. Teams can come in late, but don't give them any extra time at the end. You also might have a situation in which one student will come in and then a second student will join them. That is okay as well. But again, don't give them any extra time. And of course, if they do disturb when they come in, then that could be grounds for disqualification. So here's a copy of the schedule. Basically, we've got the name of the event here, and then there is the location. So these are the current locations. Whether it's an impound event, so only water rockets, which falls off this schedule because I've clipped a part of it, is impounded. And then you see here the two events that are construction, with most of the events starting at 10 o'clock. And you'll notice here that, let's say, 828 through 36. So this means that teams A28 through A36 have to show up at this time. Now, we do not have 45 teams. We've got 35 teams total. So there will be some hours in which there will be, let's say only 6 teams competing. So you'll have some gaps in this, but that's okay. All of them end at 50 minutes past the hour. And then there are 3 events which are self-scheduled. So the teams in advance will schedule themselves, and then you will have from me a list of those teams when they compete during that hour. So make sure that the student leaves the room clean. Tell them that they need to have their area clean, otherwise you could deduct points from them. You will also make sure that you clean up the event location, that the tables are placed back in their proper location, floor is clean, and I'm giving everybody garbage bags so that you can clean the room up and bring those back to the garbage can that's behind Creel. There's a big garbage dumpster behind Creel, so I want you to drop those off there. Disqualifications. The only reason we would have a disqualification is, one, if it is in the rules, then you follow that. And I think I've got one event in which there is a disqualification spelled out in the rules. But the other reason for disqualifications is if they are outright disrespectful, rude, they don't follow directions, they write things that are inappropriate on a test or a lab, and I need to be notified if that happens. So, but in most cases, disqualifications are reserved for cheating or unsportsmanlike behavior. So again, we need to notify me, and then we also need to notify the team that this has happened. You will notify or notify the team, and then also make sure you make a note of that on the scoring sheet, because I'll get questions afterwards, and I'll need to know why it happened, and then that way we can make sure it's written down, and I'll remember what happened after the fact. So again, disqualifications are not when students attempted but didn't follow the rules, they didn't build something correctly, they didn't have safety equipment. If they don't have safety equipment and they can't compete, that's a no-show. It's not a disqualification. And then anything other than behavior related, except for one event in which I've specifically spelled out, the DQ. So just look at the rules and the scoring on those events to make sure there isn't a specific DQ in there for something that they've done. And that would be in a case in which they are not following safety protocols. So if they don't follow safety protocols specifically, and I think it might even be water rockets, that leads to a disqualification. So if you make a mistake and you catch the mistake in the first hour, fix it. But if you end up making a mistake, and let's say you're supposed to use distilled water and you use regular water for an event, then and you catch it, let's say in the third hour, don't fix the mistake. So we want to make sure that there is a fair and level playing field for everyone. So, you make decisions, but if you do make a mistake and a student arbitrates this, then write that down on the arbitration form, that you did in fact make the mistake, but it was the same for everyone. So it could be that, let's say for rock hound, it was supposed to be this set of rocks, and you used a different set of rocks, or you used fossils, but if everybody's got the same playing field, then we're gonna go with it. It becomes a problem is if you make a mistake and then change in the middle part of the day, then there were different test conditions for the teams. So if a student feels that they did have an unfair, something unfair happened to them, then they can file an arbitration form. This arbitration form is located at the help desk, and they will come pick it up, they will fill it out, they will take it to you, the event supervisor, get the signature, and return to the help desk. And I have an arbitration team that will go through and evaluate this and then make a ruling. I do not overrule the arbitration team, by the way. It is final. But if the team disagrees with you, they should not get into a prolonged debate. They can ask a question, but they go and fill out the arbitration form. So parents and teachers can watch the outside events, but they're not allowed into the door-closed rooms. So they cannot signal to the students. They can't do hand signals, smoke signals, texting, obviously, because cell phones are not allowed. They need to not involve themselves with the students in any way. So this even includes the open events, like the bridge building, like the water rockets. I've put into the rules on some of those, I think the outside scoring sheets, that basically says if there's any kind of communication, the students are DQ'd. So they're not allowed to talk with the parents. So the parents should watch only.